Hello viewers, welcome back. In previous lecture we had discussed multi-level queue scheduling algorithm, and there was a inflexibility in multi-level queue scheduling algorithm because whenever the process enters into the system, it will be fixed to a dedicated queue. So that dedicated queue is called as foreground and background queue. So any process enters the system are separated, and those are assigned to a separate queue called foreground queue and background queue, because the processes are divided as foreground processes and background processes. So, therefore, this setup has the advantage of low scheduling overhead, but it is inflexible. So, therefore, to overcome the disadvantage what we had in the multi-level queue scheduling algorithm, we have multi-level feedback queue scheduling algorithm. In this multi-level feedback queue scheduling algorithm, this scheduling algorithm allows the process to move between the queues, which was not possible in multi-level queue scheduling algorithm. In previous lecture, we had discussed that foreground processes and background processes are permanently assigned to a queue, right? But here, the process can move between the queue, right? The idea is to separate the process according to the characteristics of their CPU burst. Means the main idea behind this multi-level feedback queue scheduling algorithm is based on the characteristics of the CPU burst time of the processes. So these process means any process is allowed to move between the queues. If a process uses too much CPU time, it will be moved to a lower priority queue. Means any process which is requesting for more CPU burst time, it will be moved to a lower priority queue from the higher priority queue. How it will be, we will see in the next diagram. So this scheme leaves IO bound and interactive processes which are typically characterized by short CPU burst in the highest priority queue. Means we have IO bound and interactive processes, right? So these IO bound and interactive processes are left in the higher priority queues, right? Because these require a short CPU burst time. Hence, these are kept in the higher priority queues. The process that waits too long in lower priority, right? A process that waits too long in a lower priority queue may be moved to higher priority queue. So this is possible in multi-level feedback queue scheduling. In earlier multi-level queue scheduling algorithm, it was not possible. So we cannot transfer or we cannot move any process from one queue to another queue. But here in multi-level feedback queue, it is possible. So any process which is waiting for a longer period of time in a lower priority queue may be moved to a higher priority queue. So this form of aging means this moving the lower level priority queue process to higher priority queue is called as aging, right? Aging. If you are not understanding this aging and starvation, so I recommend you to go back and watch my previous lectures, and you will understand the aging and starvation. Now let me tell you, the aging is nothing but a aging means any process that is waiting in a lower level priority queue for a longer time. It may be moved to lower level priority queue to higher priority queue. So this form is called as aging. So this aging prevents the starvation, right? Okay. Now let us consider a multi-level feedback queue scheduler with 3 Q numbered 0 to 2. Now assume that it is 0, it is 1 and it is 2. So total we have 3 Qs. Okay, 0, 1 and 2. Now the scheduler first execute all the processes in Q0, means all the processes are executed in this Q0. Okay, Q0. Only when a Q0 is empty, it will execute the process in Q1. Now we are moving to Q1. So if it is empty, we are moving to Q1. Right? So it has quantum 16, it has quantum 8. I will come to that. Okay. Right. So similarly, processes in Q will be executed only if a Q0 and 1 are empty. Means both the Q0 and Q1 are empty, then only the Q2 processes will be executed. A process that arrives for Q1 will be primed to process in Q2. Means any process which arrives for Q1 will prompt a process in Q2. A process in Q1 will be prompted by a process arriving for Q0. Means entering process is put in a Q0. Means any process which enters the system will put into Q0. A process in Q0 is given a time quantum of 8 milliseconds. So quantum is equals to 8 means we are giving a time quantum, right? So in round robin fashion, we have a time quantum. So 8 millisecond is the time quantum for Q0. Now assume that if it does not finish within this time, means that process doesn't finish its execution within this time quantum. So then it will be moved to the tail of Q1. Means then it will be moved to Q1 and it will be put to the tail of that Q1. Right? Tail of Q1. Now if a Q0 is empty, the process at the head of the Q1 is given a time quantum of 16 millisecond. Means all the processes are moved from 0Q to first Q, right? Those processes which have not completed their CPU burst in a given time quantum of 8 in a 0Q, so those are put into the Q1. Now if the Q0 is empty, means what we are saying, this Q0 is empty, right? Then this Q1 will select the process from its head of a queue, right, and gives the 16 millisecond of time quantum to those processes, right? Even though also any process, if they does not complete, then it is printed and put into queue number 2. Means assume that P1 is not completed its execution in Q0, because in Q0 the time quantum 8 is given. So 8 millisecond execution it has completed, but still the execution has not completed. So it has been put to the queue number 1. Then here the 16 millisecond time is given, but still it has not completed its execution. Still CPU burst time is remaining. Then it will be put into the queue number 2, right? Queue number 2. Now the process in Q2 are run on FCFS basis, because we have clearly mentioned FCFS. First come first serve basis, right? So, and this will run only when the Q0, right? When the Q0 is empty, when the Q1 is empty, then only the first come first serve will start its execution, right? Because to prevent the starvation, a process that waits too long in a lower priority queue may be gradually moved to a higher priority queue. So this is how we can use this multi-level feedback queue. In this scheduling algorithm, so gives a higher priority to any process with CPU burst of 8 millisecond or less. Means any process which is having less than 8 millisecond of time or equals to 8 millisecond of time will be allocated to first queue. However, any process which enters into the system will allocate it to Q0, right? But it gives the highest priority to those processes with the CPU burst time of 8 millisecond or less, right? Such a process will quickly get the CPU and finish its CPU burst time, and it will be terminated, or it will go to IO burst. So the process that need more than 8 millisecond, right, 8 millisecond or less than 24 millisecond are served quickly, because assume that less than 24, we are saying assume that any process which is having a 24 millisecond of burst time, 8 it will be execute in the 0 queue, means here it will execute, right? It is the highest priority queue. So already it has executed for 8 millisecond, means right now it has left only 16 millisecond of burst time. So it will be put into the Q1, and Q1 will give you 16 milliseconds. So you can complete all your execution in both these two queues, right? Both these two queues, right? So you need not go to FCFS. So only the long processes are automatically synced to queue number 2, right? More than 24 millisecond processes, or the process which having a long processing CPU time will automatically sync to Q2 and served in first come first serve order basis. Okay, so this is how this multi-level feedback queue scheduling algorithm works, right? So let us understand some of the parameters also, right? In multi-level feedback queue scheduler is defined by the following parameters. So what are the parameters we require to define in multi-level feedback queue scheduling algorithm? The first is the number of queues. We have 0 to 2, means total 3 queues, the number of queues. That is the first parameter of multi-level feedback queue scheduling algorithm, right? And the second one is the scheduling algorithm for each queue, right? So we have a scheduling algorithm for each queue. We are using round robin for first queue. For second also we are using round robin, or we can use SJF, right? Shortest job first scheduling algorithm. And the Q2, or we have FCFS for Q2. Okay, so that is scheduling algorithm for each queue. The method used to determine when to upgrade a process to a higher priority queue. So that method also we have in this multi-level feedback queue scheduler. So this is also the parameter for multi-level feedback queue scheduler. Okay, and also we have a method used to determine which process, or which queue a process will enter when that process need service, right? So we are giving a 0 queue to all the processes, and thereafter we are putting into first queue, then we are putting at second queue. If any process which having more than 24 millisecond, so we are putting into second queue. So these are the some of the parameters for multi-level feedback queue scheduling algorithm. So this multi-level feedback queue scheduling algorithm makes it most general CPU scheduling algorithm. So it can be configured to match the specific system under design. So this is all about from the CPU scheduling algorithm. Hope you understood all the CPU scheduling algorithms discussed so far. This is the end of the CPU scheduling algorithms. In the next lecture, we will discuss the multiprocessor scheduling, and thereafter we will move to the chapter number 6. So thank you for watching.